Hey everyone, welcome to our Heal Squad Part 1 interview with MindBody Expert Dr. Kim DeRamo. On this episode, we cover the yes and tool, how your triggers are your invitations, why you need to lose the words yeah but in your responses, yeah but, and the ABC technique to regulating your body's nervous system. All that and more on this episode of Heal Squad. Hey everybody, as I do like the news shuffle. Welcome to Heal Squad with Maria Menounos, and well, as you can probably guess, it's not Maria Menounos. It's Mr. Maria Menounos, subbing in for my beautiful and talented wife. Today, I'm actually with an actual friend of mine, but a friend who's also part of the Heal Squad community and probably one of the greatest healthcare practitioners currently that's out there, in my humble opinion. I'm not just saying that because she's my friend. I want to start out with a quote from this wonderful friend in person who I know, and you guys know her too. You attract the same experiences if you continue to react to them as if they're happening to you as opposed to them happening for you. That is from Dr. Kim DeRamo. Now, Dr. Kim DeRamo is a physician, best-selling author, and pioneer of mind-body medicine, an integrative approach harnessing consciousness and the body's innate healing. After overcoming her own health challenges, including autoimmune diseases, she now empowers others struggling with chronic issues to access their self-healing potential. Okay, so I'm just going to say right now, to me, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I always tell people you are the female version of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And what I really love about you is you are a former emergency room doctor, Kim. So when we talk about East meets West is best in medicine, I look at you and I say, oh my God, this is East meets West is best. So hi, Kim. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're gonna throw a curveball at you. Dwayne, can you roll in this video that I saw? This made me. Someone sent this to me.
Sure thing.
And to me, this is a philosophy I subscribe to in healing, and in the reasons I think we get sick, and I feel like you're going to agree and maybe even unpack this a little more for us.
Mm-hmm. Have found that the only way to truly determine health is to look at the emotional regulation of that person. I don't care about whatever science you've read or researched because it's all skewed by people who are doing it. I did lab tests on 10,000 people. And what I found is determining success in someone's health is measured by their degree of acceptance and happiness, not the food they eat, not the exercise that they do. Emotional dysregulation has more impact on pH, on hormone dysregulation than anything else. And food can play a big role in that. Mm-hmm. And so the only thing that I could determine, and I did genetic testing on them too, was that they were all happy. And
yes.
So I'm going to tell you right now that your degree of happiness has more to do with your health than anything that you're eating, anything that you're taking, anything at all.
How about that?
Amen.
Okay. Comments, Dr. Kim DeRamo.
Yes. So it's like you're getting a dose of your own medicine every minute of every day, 24/7, already in there. What is that medicine? Is it healing medicine? Is it a harmful medicine? And that's what he's pointing to. So he's saying you're already drinking your own flavor of your either an antidote or it's a poison. What are you creating in every moment? Because your physiology is feeding your cells. It is the number one most important factor. Not a like, well, let's do all these other things, and I guess if we can't figure it out, we can always do mind-body stuff. No, it is the number one most essential factor that will determine health or disease.
I've experienced this too because I found you online. I don't know how it came up in my feed. MindBody Medicine, your MindBody TV is your channel on YouTube. And then I started, I don't know, how long ago was it, Kim?
I think 4 years, maybe?
No.
3?
Has it been that long? What happens in life? I don't understand. I feel like it was a year. Okay. So it was, you're right. No, it was because it was before Maria had the pancreatic tumor. It's been a while. So anyway, and I read your book and you saw how many, I highlighted it. I rabbit-eared so many pages. And I just started I was at one point, it was Hashimoto's, Lyme disease, candida in my stomach, and mold all at once in my body. And, Western doctors were saying, well, some of that is baloney, or here's all these medications you could take. And then even the Far Eastern doctors were saying circadian rhythm, red light, blue light, all this other stuff. And I was kind of trying it all. And then finally, I surrendered and went more with your way, which was, okay, what can I do to find more bliss and joy in my life? What's sapping my energy? How do I reduce that responsibly?
Yeah.
And then obviously going on to now, I don't know, maybe a year later, and I'm functioning. I'm doing more than I don't know, than maybe I've ever done. And being self-forgiving. There's times I need a Diet Coke or a caffeine, and instead of hating myself for that, or being like, why am I, I shouldn't be drinking this. This is not good for me. I know it's not, but really the emotional component has been the part I feel like that's doing the most healing with me.
You can either eat from self-love and self-nurturance, or eat because you're punishing yourself. I can't eat this, I've got to eat that. And so again, it's your own medicine. You're either in a flow or in a closure, restriction, resistance. And so it's not about like, let's just pretend it's okay and go douse yourself with a bunch of Coke. That's not what we're saying. I'm saying the most potent thing you're doing to your body is the way you believe and feel and think about yourself.
You're either in flow or in closure.
Yeah.
Can you go deeper with that?
Yes. So in flow, for example, let's take a moment where we're talking about happiness, and people are like, well, okay, how do I get happy? And it's not what you think is like, yeah, la, 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 I feel so good. It's being 2% more generous with yourself, being 2% more forgiving, being 2% more self-loving, that you see your inadequacies, that you see your self-sabotaging behavior. Because as soon as you are in a self-sabotaging behavior and you forgive yourself, I love you, I know this isn't the best thing, but I'm going to be loving with myself, you shift your frequency instantaneously. And that's what he's pointing to, is coming into that, you wouldn't call that happiness, but being in that resistance of I'm self-sabotaging and I hate myself for it, to I self-sabotage and I'm willing to accept that this is the moment I'm in now, is a quantum shift toward joy, love, health, happiness. So if we can make those micro quantum shifts, that's when our physiology shifts. That's when our physiology rebalances.
I find it so hard for so many people are not in flow. They are closed, but they want the help.
Yeah.
And so I have found, even in my business, in show business, people say, please help me. And I'll say, gotcha, no problem. And then it's like, all they'll do is tell me what can't happen, what can't be done, how screwed they are, how this, how that, and now I've gotten more experience to the point where I will preemptively say, hey, if you're not going to come in with the battle's already lost if you're closed coming into it. But I find that there's a certain personality type, Kim, that's just like that.
It can be shifted.
Okay, there's probably someone like you could shift
them. And you know what people will say to me, you're so happy, you're so positive. But I have that person in me too, who will just get so like dungy about something, or just hold on to the negative. And I've got to find a way of how do I do a yes and yes. This part of me does not see possibility here, and I feel hopeless, and I want to express that. And what else is possible? So you first have to discharge.
I like this. Yes and.
Yes and. Improv comedy section.
Okay, it is. That's what I'm saying. So you do get it from improv comedy, but explain the tool of yes and.
Okay, so you can't create anything you don't already have. So I want more money, I want more health, but I don't have any money, and I'm looking at my bank account calling it empty, or I'm looking at my health, I have this bad health, I have a disease, and what I want is something different. But you can't actually create, because what you focus on expands. So if I got $10 in my account and I say, ooh, what would it take to add a couple extra zeros? Yes, and I'd love even more. You can only create more of what you already have. What you focus on expands. So your health, right? This is a tough one because people are like, but I'm in so much pain. Can I find just a little bit of where in my body is there no pain? Maybe it's my right eyebrow. Where in my body could I soften even a little? Maybe it's my left calf. You got to go to where there is an opening, because what you focus on expands. Okay, well, my left shoulder doesn't have pain right now, or I'm 2% less pain than I was 10 minutes ago. Wow, that's kind of nice. Yes, more of that. You have to go to where there is ease and blow it up.
So the yes is, yes, I have pain, and...
Oh yeah, you could do, yes, I have pain and I would love some resolution. That's a yes and even better is acknowledge this pain and what would it be like to have my body more relaxed? Or yeah, there's pain in my left hip that's 20 out of 10, but my right hip is okay. What would it take for more of that to go onto my left? So you go into where there is a possibility, where there is the sensation you do want, and you allow that to, when I trained in osteopathic medicine, you'd put your hands on the body, you'd feel what was going on, you'd notice all kinds of things, like the spine is out of alignment, or there's tension in the psoas muscle, and all the excellent doctors I worked with said, don't focus on the lesion, find the health. Find the health. Where is there a sense of flow and resilience in the body? Because where I put my attention in my patient's body, miraculously expands the health in their body. We affect each other. And this is where I really began to practice with how awareness creates a shift physiologically, not just in my body. I could do it and notice their body. You do it all the time. You're with your wife, you're with your loved ones, you're with even people you don't like. If you soften and find, all right, this curmudgeon-y person I don't like, what could I find that's right about this? Well, I know they really do care. I know they're trying. Or the person you're working with who's complaining and you're like, God, this guy's so shut down. This is just annoying. Work with me. Now you're in your own tension. So you just kind of soften into like, what else is possible? There's another aspect of that person you could be bringing out, and what you focus on expands. What would it take for that to come out right now? And you notice this little 2% of, I know he really does want this better result, and he's feeling the pain, and that he knows this is not working for him. So you notice like, what's right about this? He is on board in some aspect. He asked me for help, and I'm noticing the resistance, but let's move into this other part where he's open. And then you get more of that. And then all of a sudden the person's like, you know what? You're right.
This is really good advice, because I think on our show, we're always coming at it for how we help the person who is in pain or is sick or in crisis. But I like discussing now, and I've never thought of this, is helping the helper. Because we have many people, at least in our Heal Squad community, that's all they want to do is serve and help. And I think that they get worn down by those people who are blocked. I know I do. It's really tiring. But I love this technique of trying to find the 2% in them. Because you're right, they did reach out for help, or that so they want the help.
And it will have a little light bulb go off in your mind where you go back to that. Wait a minute. As soon as they're complaining and getting into their stuckness, which they don't want to do, and you pause. Wait a minute. Where do we want to go? What is it you do want? Because as soon as you call it out, and then you get them to step into it, oh, what I do want is, because we can always focus on what's not working, and then we just blow that up.
Well, I feel like the people I know would say, what I do want is, and then, but...
Yep.
I can't.
And you got to just stay right here. And are you willing to surrender that butt? And it's a yes or no question. If their answer is no, you're not going to be able to move forward. And now you know. Good. Thank God. I'm glad we got clarity. If it's a yes, you just called them into a higher possibility.
I'm telling you now, I think of all the gems you've already spewed out, this one, are you willing to surrender that butt?
Big old butt.
Yeah, it is a big old butt. No, because you get that. Yeah, I would, but I could, but
we all do it.
You don't
we
understand.
All do it.
But are you willing to surrender the butt? And I think if you're helping someone, that's a great question to really break through. Sometimes
the answer is, I don't know. And then you can work with what would it take for you? What would you have to know for you to let that go? Because we're just trained that we got to make all the things work, and then I could surrender the butt. I have to make sure this is in place. Then I can let go and let a new possibility. So sometimes we don't consciously know that, but you could guide them to what would you have to know? What would have to be in place? Maybe they'd have to feel a certain way. Maybe they'd have to just have an I dotted or a T crossed. But that's when you realize, like, do I really need that? Actually, I don't. So you bring the unconscious to conscious.
And now when we are advising people, let's go on to this one. Sometimes, we bring all sorts of healers onto the show. And one of the things we're excited about is new forms of healing. And my experience is Western medicine is very good at treating, you, but as far as healing, not so much. And I still think it's super important for surgeries and, so many great things with Western medicine. But I don't think there's a focus on healing. So therefore, we have to be open to new modalities. And we are on this show. The problem is for the amount of work we do on the show and the people like you that we bring in who are highly sought after or put themselves out there courageously in today's world. And, we'll get these 1-star reviews from people like, that's baloney, that will never work, you're spewing all this false information. And I've had someone say this, on one of the experts say, well, there's a lot of people who are committed to their illness. They're committed to their dying.
They're committed to their foundation. We argue and fight against the things that would most shake our foundation. And sometimes seeing things in such a profoundly new way shakes the very foundation we're standing on. And it's so unstable and uncomfortable for us to even begin to consider that this foundation we thought was completely solid is crumbling. So we grasp and we hang on and we fight, not realizing like this is actually a pretty limited foundation. And it doesn't mean you got a whole new universe. It just means like we're going to move around some of the parts.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
That, going back to the butt, that is their foundation.
Yeah. It's scary.
So they're comfortable in that.
Threatened by a new perspective.
Right.
It's very threatening. You gotta feel safe, 2% safe, exploring a new possibility.
So we were talking about this too. So now, what happens when, it's kind of a big shift, but what happens when you do get the people that you're trying to help that come back at you and attack you and say you're full of crap and you're a quack or your advice is garbage, you're garbage. I mean, I see this a lot, and for me, it's just I kind of just walk away. Like I'm just, but I feel like you have a better way of dealing with.
Yeah, when I started getting more, comments on social media, you get triggered by people who say certain things about you or are critical of you or about something you really believe in. So what I started to see is like, why is this bothering me so much? Because other times people would say things, I don't know, like when someone told me once, you have a big nose, right in the middle, I'm on a live broadcast, and I just started laughing like,
what is wrong with you?
Wait a minute, I'm saying these like amazing, profound truths, and that's what you thought? So that was just like, ha, ha, ha. But then there's other things.
Can I say side note? This is a regular guy Friday, it's Heal Squad. I have to say, sometimes when people just go so just absurdly low, I have to say in some strange, sick way, I admire them. I don't know. I'm so puzzled at the fact that they make my brain stop. I'm like,
yeah.
That's what you would think of. But continue, please.
Yeah, but then there's other things that land, and theyll say exactly the right thing, and it's a trigger. I remember being in the ER. I was an ER doctor, and just like to your point, ER is a great way.
Land, when they say criticism to you, it'll land with you and trigger and hurt you.
I had this patient who said, I give me some crackers. I was at Grady Hospital. It's a level 1 trauma center. We're always loaded, people lining up and down the hallways. Give me some crackers. And I'm like going and check somebody's x-ray. I don't know. I said, no, I can't help you right now. You don't care about anybody but yourself. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was exhausted. I was probably starving. And it just shook me. That idea that I'm selfish. Right? You could say you're ugly or you're stupid or there's a bunch of things that wouldn't really land, but this was the one. And it took me years later to figure out what that was about. But there was programming when I was younger. We're a big Italian family. You're not supposed to think about yourself. You're supposed to do what's best for the we have tuna fish today. You're gonna eat your tuna fish sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Don't be unique or individual.
We know.
And so that that one struck a chord. So here's the point I'm making is it's always a trigger pointing to something in you don't currently see. But to become more whole and more powerful, more resilient, and at a higher frequency of happiness, like this guy is saying, which we've seen scientifically is exactly what promotes healing, you've got to release what's holding that trigger. You got to release that little bit of resistance that trigger is hitting upon. Because every time you get triggered, it's just showing you ding, 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 ding. Oh, you see this little nugget over here you were not aware of? It's time for it to release. That trigger would not be coming up if it weren't ready to release from your system, meaning you're growing beyond it. And whenever you're asking for expansion in your life, whether it's money, love, health, you've got to be willing to release everything that's not aligned with that. Most of those things, you don't even know what they are. But it's part of your energy field, it's part of your physical body. Your body knows. It knows exactly where it is. It knows exactly what it's about. It knows exactly how to release it. And the triggers are the biggest thing. You get these comments that'll come up. She's this or she's that, or what do you, some, stupid blonde girl, and who knows what is going to be said.
Yeah.
But it's something that they felt threatened by, which has nothing actually to do with me. Sometimes there's a little nugget in it, though, that you receive. Like people will say, well, you just talk too fast. I can't understand. You're making me have anxiety when I listen to you. And it's actually a really good point. Oh, thank you. You know what? Let me do that. Let me, whatever's in me that's driving it, let me slow that down and take it. But to receive that, I got to get over any layers of what that's triggering in me. Like, well, forget you. You're telling me, blah, blah, blah. Like, see, you go out here and do this. No, I don't need to do that. So sometimes there's a little nugget in it, but you're so triggered, you just block it out or make the other person wrong. So I would challenge you to soften, receive, maybe there's a little something here for me. Very often, 90% of it is you just disregard, but you'll get those little nuggets that actually grow you immensely. And if you're willing to get that 2%, it will show you like, whoa, where did that land? Oh, right here in solar plexus, like, oh, anyone thinking I'm selfish. No, no, no. Let me tell you how much I care and let me tell you what a good doctor I am. No, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I could just resolve whatever it is in me where I agree with him.
So okay, now I'm confused. You would agree with him for saying you're selfish?
It's not conscious. Is there a subconscious part of me where I learned at 4 years old, don't be selfish. You're a selfish brat, or you're a blah, 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 right? There's programming in there.
Okay.
You will be amazed if you trace that trigger back, feel physically, where do I feel this in my body? I'm so fired up. Maybe you're angry and you just get curious. What's happening in me when they said that thing? It will show you. And you will release that. All you do is breathe into it. Your body already knows how to heal. You'll release that. People could say you're selfish. It doesn't do the same trigger anymore. Now it can be in my power, right? Not in my reaction. Let me prove what a selfless person I am.
Yeah,
you lose so much energy.
Oh my goodness, do you? You have lost a lot over the years. Trying to prove. I like this whole see triggers as an invitation. So every time people are triggered, right, it's an invitation to learn something about yourself.
Yes, and you've got to know why. Otherwise, it's just to be a good person. I'm not going to let you trigger me. I'm above it. Like, no. The only reason to welcome the triggers, because this is no joke, they can be very painful, is to remember life is calling me into my expansion. Do I want to have more personal power? That when I speak, people heal? That they feel the power in themselves? Yes, at a 20 out of 10. So I'll be willing to meet what arises in me when something big comes and triggers me. I'll be willing to breathe through that because I know what this is really doing for me. It's allowing me to be more of the essence of what I truly am and less of these little nuggets I'm carrying around that are lies.
All right, so Kim, what is our advice when you're very well trained, you're highly intuitive? So I think people would be able to recognize, okay, I've been triggered. That's easy. But the why, that's the hard thing. And I feel like a lot of, not a lot, but some therapists aren't really trained to get to the why. I see a lot of flawed ones out there.
Or they do it from the mind. We're going to think about it, and there's this incident, and they're going to, we're going to go in an analytical way, which doesn't do the same healing.
So how do we get to the why?
Okay, so first thing is curiosity. You've got to be 2% more receptive. We don't want to feel the bad thing. We don't want to feel shame or heaviness or even anger. And so you just got to get like a little bit of physical softening in the body and a little bit of curiosity. Whoa, I'm like a 10 out of 10 triggered, and I don't even know this person. Wonder what might be happening here. I wonder if there's something in it for me. Because as soon as you start to see the unseen, there's healing that happens. So soften physically, curiosity. That's how you become a little more receptive. Now, when you're more receptive, you're gonna see what you couldn't see. What happens is, I gotta figure out why. I really want to change. Or like, yeah, I'm totally vested in healing. But you're still in the tension. Remember you said flow or resistance? You gotta go 2% more toward the flow to let this shift in. And sometimes understanding the why is the very thing causing the resistance. So we gotta be willing to be in the unknown. Curiosity is a great place to go. Is there something in this for me? I wonder if there's some massive shift. I'm 20 out of 10 fired up right now. I wonder if there's a huge breakthrough on the other side of this. So you get curious, soften, it will come.
Like you found you got to a place of you were 4 years old, right? That you realized that, you were told you were selfish. But you just, that's how you got there? To softening your body and curiosity?
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, well, I'd say first it was awareness of like massive amounts of wrongness. You're a selfish person. And, everybody has history. You can't make it wrong. This is such a key. Like, I love my mother. She freaking she nailed it, okay?
Yeah.
But like, was there programming she had that got like unconsciously passed on? Yeah. So yes and, right? Yes, there was this programming, and what will I do with this? Right? Yes, and. Because people do it, but I got this traumatic history, so that'll work for you, but I got my trauma here. Well, yes, and. Yes, there was this experience, and what will I do with that? Can I digest it in a way that makes me more whole instead of less? And so once we begin to recognize, ooh, and then you like hear the words. Because I don't know what the guy said about the crackers, but selfish, that was definitely like a ding, 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 ding. And so there's some resistance I have. What you resist persists. If you're resistant to being selfish, I'm not selfish, well, you're gonna be in reactivity around that. You gotta just welcome, like, you know what, maybe I am selfish. Am I willing to consider maybe this small part of me I'm not even conscious of, and certainly wouldn't choose, who learned to be selfish or thought I needed to be selfish or doesn't know how to think of others? Get curious, because what's true, it's going to set you free, and what's untrue is going to dissolve. You're not selfish, so you don't have to fight against being selfish or protect yourself or defend. You could just let it in and let it go. Sometimes there's a little nugget for you, and that's how you find that trigger. You'll feel it. I mean, if you don't feel it physically, yeah, like you said, you're aware of it emotionally. Take a few breaths, soften your body. You're going to feel physical. You're going to feel a little more sensation. The more you practice that, I have a tool called the instant elevation technique. You get your hardwiring to begin to pay attention to what's going on in your body. Most people, they've shut that out. The brain is not paying attention to that information. You can change that, and you become more self-aware.
Okay, tell me about this technique that you have.
Okay, so 3-step ABC. Your awareness, as I said, where your attention goes.
No, wait, before I ask, what does this technique do? What is this?
Okay, so this is going to reset your nervous system and create new circuits specifically for self-healing. So if your body knows how to heal itself, how do we ignite that? This ignites the circuitry for self-healing.
Okay, so now listen, before we really go deep into this, you know what I do for a little bit of self-healing on the regular guy level?
Yes.
I go shopping. I like to go to the mall.
We know all about that.
Really?
There's some family members that love retail therapy.
So my mother loves retail therapy.
That's my mother,
right?
yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
and they're from the same place.
No, so wait, so she Burlington Mall?
She loves Burlington
That's
Mall.
what I'm saying. That's my mother goes to the, okay, so, Macy's is one of our sponsors. And so every time I go home with my mom, that's our thing.
My mom's going to have to run into your mom at Macy's.
Oh, yeah, because you guys already met.
That was her to do with her mother. They would go on a girl date every week, and they go shopping.
Her and her mom.
Her and her mom used to every week go shopping.
Yeah, and my mother and her grandmother would take her shopping. And I don't know. I love to go to the mall now. From what I understand now, I was talking to your daughter Gemma. Gemma, how old are you?
I'm 12.
Gemma's 12. So Gemma and I were chatting, and Gemma said that Grandma likes to take her to Macy's and buy all sorts of amazing outfits. By the way, Grandma's picking up the tab for the outfits.
100%.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
come on. That's kind of cool, Gem, right? You like going to the mall with Grandma?
Oh, I love it. It's just such a wonderful experience to spend that time with her and see what she likes and what she thinks will be good on me. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is great. It's just amazing.
And wait, does she try on stuff too when you're at Macy's?
It's mostly me, but we get matchies a lot too.
She dolls Gemma up.
But this is why, you know what, I love stores like that. I still love the brick and mortar experience. And so like I'm really, grateful to Macy's for being our sponsor, because it's now when I go back, I don't have any shopping guilt. I don't have any retail therapy guilt. It's like, oh no, I'm doing my job. But we love going, and I know we want to say thank you to Macy's because they've been so great to our show. But also, I know if you go to MariaMenounos.com, or is it HealSquad.com, Dwayne and Nikkei in the booth, I forget where Maria's picks are for Macy's.
So you actually can get that on her website and in the podcast episode description as well to see all her picks.
All her picks, yes, because guess what, kids? We're moving into summer, right? So it's like, we call it here, Heel Girl Summer.
Heel girls.
Right? So how's your summer wardrobe looking, Gemma?
Oh, I don't know. That wardrobe's pretty full by now.
Well,
Really?
we're
For the
going to be
summer?
going out there in a couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah, she's loading it up.
All right, now you and Grandma at Macy's, or is it going to be Mom taking you to Macy's?
Oh, no, Grandma all the way.
That's amazing, right? Yeah, Grandma writes the check at Macy's. I like
Yeah.
Grandma.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
want to
love
go be with Grandma. Yeah, I do. My mother and I, we go to Burlington Mall all the time. And now she knows. It's so funny. I used to always have to say, Mom, let's just go to Burlington Mall. And let's go, and all the time she's like 40% off all the coupons and the stuff that you can find online. Really good stuff. All right, I'm going to get back now to that's my version of therapy, but I like this being able to regulate my internal body. So I like this technique, Kim.
Okay, so most people, when they have sensations in their body, they are afraid. What's going on? Is it this? Is it that? Do I have cancer? Any mild discomfort can set off the fight or flight system, the sympathetic nervous system. And that sympathetic nervous system is not meant to be a long-term in the on position, bells and whistles going off, inflammation, epinephrine, getting you running from the dragon. It's meant to be very, very short bursts, and then shut it off and go back to business as usual. But most people are so triggered by everything happening. Oh my God, I got to do this. I got to do that. And so overstimulated. Their sympathetic nervous system is on fight or flight all the time. So yeah, Hashimoto's disease, because your adrenals, it's adrenal fatigue, basically. Your adrenals are overrun. It hits your thyroid. Your thyroid can't function normally and gets depleted. Digestive problems, even things like Lyme disease, Epstein-Barr, your immune system can't function normally and clear bacteria, viruses, pathogens the way it's designed to when you're living in this fight or flight. So a lot of people come, and I've seen major, major diseases, cancer, all kinds of things heal when people do this technique.
Okay, I want to hear more about the technique.
Okay, so ABC, 3 steps. So awareness, breathing, and conscious choice. We talked about how what you focus on expands, and you're either disconnecting from your body, or you're connecting in your body, but it's fear. Oh, what's going on? Or you can connect with your body in peace. You can connect with your body and send love. You can connect with your body and let your body know, body, it's okay. One of the things people have resistance to with this is, yeah, but if I just pretend everything's okay, I won't do anything and get the problem taken care of. What if it's cancer? What if it's something serious? And that's like the big delusion, is that when you're more present and more aware, you're gonna do less and have less clarity. No, you're gonna have more clarity about exactly what's called for and more energy and ability to meet that and do whatever actions or behaviors need to happen. You gotta have that awareness, you gotta have that presence. And sometimes it's like needle in a haystack, like, oh, I know I need magnesium. your body knows what it needs, but mentally, you're never going to figure that out reading all the medical textbooks ever written, but your wisdom knows immediately, instantaneously, and it can give you the awareness very specifically.
Okay. ABC.
So awareness, we're
Is
going
A.
to bring our awareness to the body. So soften your shoulders, feel your spine straight, witness how your breath is flowing. Don't even try to change it. Just like, oh, am I breathing into the upper lungs? Am I breathing all the way down to the belly? Is my body soft? Is my body tense? Just noticing. You're not trying to fix anything. Your body will do this just when you bring your observation. So a lot of times our attention is in the outer. What do I got to do next? What do people think of me? What's going to happen? You got to bring it here. Always, always bring your attention here. We see the energy field increases in frequency, meaning your vibration, and expands out beyond you, meaning people will feel your presence more powerfully when you bring your attention more in. We all want to have more impact, more health, more power, and then our energy goes out there. It's the opposite. Bring your energy and your attention back in here. Second part, shift your breathing. You're already yawning. See, it's going to happen. That's the parasympathetic nervous system coming back online. Parasympathetic nervous system relaxation response has been shown, decades and decades of medical research, to be the healing power, to be the self-healing, self-regulation of the body. So shift your breath all the way down to your belly. So we just soften your shoulders. Let your breath come all the way down to your belly. You might yawn. You might release some tension. Yeah. And so that's a really good sign. Let your breath just deepen. And so notice where your breath in. It's a yes and. Ooh, I notice my breath's not coming down to my belly. And I wonder what would it take to let my breath come more fully and slowly into my body, right? Or I notice, oh, it's only in the upper. It's tight. Okay, yes and. What else is possible? So your body, your mind will communicate through images. So you can just see the breath or intend the breath to come in. Your belly balloons out as you inhale. Your belly sinks back in as you exhale. 3 to 5 breaths like this gets you into that parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response. So already you're beginning to create that inner pharmacy of self-healing. And then C is conscious choice. This could be an affirmation. I'm powerful, healthy, and strong. This could be a question. Who would I have to be to allow success in whatever this is I'm doing right now? It could be a question, will this choice bring me health and wealth? Right? Like you're thinking, should I be taking this supplement? I don't know. And you're thinking from the head, ABC, get into the body, get into the parasympathetic breathing. Is this going to contribute to my health? And you'll begin, the more your neuroplasticity is happening, right? Your brain can change, your nervous system can change. Your system can alert you. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, move in that direction. You just have to develop the ability to listen.
How often are you doing this practice?
Okay, so I do this practice 24/7, 100% of the time. Because what I tell people is set your alarm 3 times a day to remind you. You could take a full minute. You could take 10 seconds and say ABC tool, right? So you just bring your presence to your body, slowly breathe, conscious choice. I'm going to choose from my truth. Because you're usually in reactive. I'm going to do this. Wait, no.
Yeah.
What's really called for here? Okay, you could do it in 10 seconds, but the point is repetition. So over the first, in my Instant Elevation program, actually I guide you in a challenge. The first 5 days is the Instant Elevation Challenge to just get the habit in your body. If you do it 3 times a day, in the morning when you wake up and at night, so that, before bed, that's 5 times a day, and I have your system in there to guide you, it automatically starts running in your nervous system without you even thinking about it. Because your brain, you're already doing autopilot programming right now, by the way, like, I gotta make sure everyone likes me. And then you put on this persona, or I'm never gonna really let anybody in. And you have like a heart wall. Those things are already running. These are autopilot programming. So we're gonna create a conscious autopilot program of well-being. And it doesn't take long for this to become automated in your nervous system.
So Gemma, you're 12 years old again, as I said. Do you practice any of these things?
Oh, a lot of them. I've
Really?
mostly practiced them with her, but
That's
yeah.
great. Well, I think because a lot of people have children, and I know it's super important with what kids are growing up with today, Kim, right? To like for this, I feel like they're dealing with so much more than we were.
Yeah.
That they need these tools. So
There's a huge amount of anxiety and then the suicidal depression. And I've seen
Yes.
a lot of kids get off medications and get out of therapy and no longer be suicidal when they learn these mind-body self-regulating tools.
And have you taught them to
Mm-hmm.
Gemma?
We do a lot of EFT tapping. I know with like the allergies, even my 6-year-old had like, we went to the horses, go ride horses, and he was just like flared up and screaming and miserable.
Yeah.
And by the time we got home and we did some tapping, he's like, oh, that really worked. And you've used it for like so many things.
Oh my God, so many things. I've used it a lot in school. Like I'm just, because my friends and everyone around me, I can feel all the energies and it's just like stimulated and I don't like it. I can just feel it all. And
Yeah.
you just have to tap it out because it's just
And do you
so-
know where to tap, Gemma? Where do you tap?
my body just tells me like right here or
So
I,
right,
like,
right
know
here,
the
being
places.
next to your eyes, but your body's actually telling you those places, or did mom teach you?
She taught me and then I see what feels with that too.
Okay, so Kim, can you speak to that for the tapping?
Yeah, so EFT meridian tapping, emotional freedom technique, is a way of reprogramming how the emotions are linked to your physiology. So you go into like, I'm going to be speaking in front of a bunch of people, and your physiology is all fired up. Or like school, oh my God, we're going to take a test, or she said this, or he looked at me. And these are unconscious programming where all of a sudden, kids will have heartburn. You're like, you're 9 years old, you have heartburn. We can resolve these patterns. I actually had a kid for over a year in Boston, saw every pediatric specialist, digestive specialist, even psychiatric specialist, because he had this chronic abdominal pain, was vomiting. They put him on, a bunch of medications. He was in therapy. So it was like a social anxiety as well as this severe abdominal pain. And we tapped it back to this one incident that had happened just prior to the onset of this at baseball. And he puked on the field and was so embarrassed. And then the dad kind of was like, come on, be a man, stay out there. And it
Oh.
like puke on his shirt. He was
boy.
so ashamed. And that just got locked right into his system. And we resolved that. One session of doing the tapping, he was 100% resolved off his medication.
But how are you able to get that out of him?
So we had I was with the mom and the kid, and we just looked back at like, what are you feeling in your body? Because he felt the abdominal pain, and then he felt some of the social anxiety. So we just kind of like got him in a safe space. What's coming up in your body? So a lot of times we'll do that first round of tapping. You do the inner eye. You do the outer eye. You're just giving information to the nervous system that calms the amygdala.
He's talking.
He's
to
doing
him.
his tapping.
He's tapping, but is he talking to
And
himself?
I would guide him,
Right.
and we'd notice the abdominal pain. What does it feel like? This is where I feel it. This is how long it's been going on. I'm really worried and then he started talking about someone's going to see me throw. And I'm like, what's he talking about, throw? And the mom's like, oh, that means puke. Oh, okay, did that ever happen? And he went right, after a few
And I
rounds.
notice as you're saying this, you're still tapping.
He went right into the incident. Yep.
Wow.
So you let the nervous system know it's basically a yes and. Yes, this incident happened and I'm okay.
Okay, I'm just going to have an ADD moment. I really love pistachios. Well, no, it got me thinking of peanut allergies and things like that. I haven't heard of a pistachio allergy.
No, I have not heard of a
Right?
pistachio allergy.
So we love, on the show, we love wonderful pistachios. And everyone kind of makes fun of me because I travel a lot now for work. And my bag is just stuffed with them because it's just packed with protein. But then when I brought it up, when we were pre-show, when I was talking to my new co-host, Gemma, she was like, I love pistachios.
But they're so good. Ever since I was smaller, like my dad would always have them in the kitchen or in his office or at the hangar.
In the
or if
car.
And I wonder why.
everywhere.
Now, why, Dr. Kim? Why did you guys have your pistachios?
I mean, it's kind of like a healthier peanut.
That's
They're
it.
yummy, creamy, delicious, nutty, but it's like also like kind of like a gourmet style peanut.
I like that. Gourmet style peanut, but also the protein.
It's
right?
got more healthy nutrients in it, and it doesn't have a lot of the mold that you get with peanuts. So
Look
it's
at
kinda
that. Boom.
avoiding.
So go out and buy wonderful pistachios like me and Dr. Kim and Gemma because, they are amazing, but they really are. And, may I recommend, Gemma, just a little side note, just the sea salt and vinegar. Outstanding. Auntie Maria, of course, big fan of the The hot one, the
That's
spicy
what you
one.
guys get.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
get the spicy,
that's what Mario
the
gets.
honey, and the normal, and the just
You got to
the
know what you're
so
getting,
many
though. Is if you
flavors.
think you're getting the regular and you get the spicy.
Yeah, no, that's a little bit of it's a little shock to the system. But then we just tap it out. Okay, so I want to like wrap up part one with as far as the. Well, let me do this. No, let's. I'm going to end it on this note, and what I do want to tease for part two is. See, I love the tapping, and everything you say makes perfect sense. But I do feel as though, I mean, Kim, you're so gifted in bringing that out.
Yeah.
So when you're tapping the subject through, so I want to talk about in part two, how do we find someone that's qualified, or if I'm a dad or a mom or a friend, how can I pull it out? But let's say
I'm
that.
going to teach you how to tap on your own, because it's so easy to learn to tap on your own and to develop the ability that you do have the awareness of what's underneath these symptoms.
Okay, let's
And-
save it for let's
Yeah.
let's
All right.
as Maria. See, you know what, Gemma? When I do these meetings with Auntie Maria and I meet with these big shots in Hollywood, and I'll have these great ideas, but it's going to require them to actually have to work. They go, you know what? Let's just put a pin in that. So, Mom, we're going to put a pin in that. So, part two, and Mom, and then also, like, do you have a lot of experience with people who've had cancer,
Many.
terminal cancer?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to get into that
Stage
as well.
4 cancer, tumors shrinking, resolution. I have one woman who built a new house overlooking the ocean to be near her adult children. She was told she had 6 months to live. I think that was like 3.5 years ago.
All right, so we're going to take a second pin. We're going to put a second pin in that, and that'll be on part two. But thank you, everyone for tuning in. Try to remember what Maria says here, which is it's not regular Guy Friday, so excuse me. It's make good choices, be nice people, and be present. All right, we'll be back with part two tomorrow.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.